Good evening, everyone. 2020, huh? What a roller coaster of a year it has been. If I were to ask you to give me a snapshot of 2020, your answer would probably be COVID, the lockdown and its consequences, protests like Black Lives Matters and the one that is happening in Belarus. And environmentally, there has been wildfires in Australia as well as western states of United States of America. There has also been a blast in Beirut. But in 2020, I was able to connect with more people than I've ever before. And those relationships have been more meaningful and stronger with them. I was also able to perform activities such as improving my cooking skills, getting back on choreography, watching the shows that were on my wish list, and finally starting to learn to speak Japanese, which is a very, very hard language to learn. But all of this made me realize the brevity of life. It has also made me realize that even though humans have such a short lifespan, that short life can have a huge impact. So I asked the speakers today, what was their best or the worst snapshot in their life and how that has affected their life. For me, the events I just mentioned had has shown me exactly that even though humans have a short lifespan, the impact of that short lifespan can be huge. So first, we start with three wonderful speakers who have prepared some amazing speeches for us. And helping us out are our three functionaries, starting with Deb, who is our timer for the day.
Hey everyone. Sorry, we have like multiple computers on one table. So I'm your timer tonight, and I'm gonna try to keep us all on time so we can end at a good time tonight. But I actually do it with cards. So you'll actually, for each role or each part of the meeting, there will be cards to indicate the timing rules. So for speakers, if you're doing a 5 to 7 minute speech, at the green card, you'll get 5 minutes warning, 6 minutes the yellow, and 7 minutes the red, which you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up.
Next is our counter, Mingshaw. Mingshaw, can you tell us your role?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm the all country tonight. I will note the overused word and the filler words like and will, you know. I will record these words and share the record later. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
And finally, we have our grammarian, Alex. Alex, can you explain your role?
Hi, everybody. I will be the grammarian tonight, and that means I will be looking for good uses of language and poor uses of language that either add to or take away from the power of your message. One of the best ways that you can improve the power of your message is by using rhetorical devices such as alliteration or metaphor or structural tools like chiasmus. And I will be looking for those tonight, and I will give a report on them at the end of the day.
Want to talk about the word of the day, brevity?
The word of the day. In fact, I almost used too much brevity in my grammarian report and missed the word of the day. Brevity means shortness. Usually it's talking about the way that someone speaks. And we all wished that the presidential debate had a little bit more brevity. Madam Toastmaster.
Our clap master of the day is Xavier, who is making sure that the very realistic sounds of our clapping can be heard by everyone. So for this, we start tonight with our president Hassan. Evaluating Hassan is Preetham. Preetham, could you tell us a little bit about Hassan's speech today?
Hello everyone. Hassan is going to work on a speech today that is about Toastmasters mentoring. In this speech, he is going to talk about a time when he was a protege. He will discuss his experiences, and this is not going to be a report, but just a story of his experiences as a protege. His speech time is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Bhakti.
I asked Hassan what was the best or worst snapshot of his life and how that has impacted his life. His answer was when he was around 5 or 6, he was very curious and would ask several questions to his mom every day. And because of that, he has instilled in himself the desire to learn and love general knowledge in general. His title of the speech is called From Mentee to Mentor. From Mentee to Mentor, Hassan.
I will always remember the first time I attended a Toastmaster meeting. I was invited by my friend Lamin to attend a meeting starting at 9, but I showed up at 10, thinking that in Niger, people never start a meeting on time. But I was totally wrong. And I was impressed with these people who take punctuality seriously. They also deliver great speeches, and above all these, they have fun. I then decided to join the club. But shortly after that, I found myself without a mentor, and I had to figure out by myself how to navigate the program. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is how I started my Toastmaster journey in my first club, which is called Aura. I became a Toastmaster at a time when many people were recruited in a club. I was assigned a mentor who shortly after that moved to another city. And we didn't have our first mentor-mentee meeting. And other experienced members, they were busy mentoring the newcomers and also with their respective jobs. Then I told my friend Lamin, you made me join Toastmaster, you will be my mentor. It was like a new student joining a school where he doesn't know anybody and he sticks to the only person he knows. From that experience, I learned an important lesson that later on helped me as a mentor. Be honest with your mentee and with yourself. Honesty was one of the things I was expecting from my mentor, Lamin. Every time I deliver a speech or play a role, I would expect from him to tell me honestly how my performance was. And Lamin shared with me everything he knew. But when he doesn't have an answer to my question, he would tell me that he doesn't know. When we are mentee, sometimes we expect from the mentor to tell us everything, to answer all our questions. And on the other hand, the mentor may think, if I say I don't know, I will sound ignorant. But unfortunately, mentors don't have infused knowledge. And I remember one of my cousins, he told me that being able to say, I don't know, is a sign of knowledge and wisdom. And I also find this honesty in my Tigertales mentor, Matt. He once told me to talk more about my personal experiences in my speeches. And he added, it's not easy because it's really hard for me to talk about myself. And I think definitely honesty is what strengthens the trust you have in your mentor. Now I would like to talk about some of the qualities of a good mentee. Movies and novels give us many examples of mentorship, like Harry Potter and Dumbledore, Frodo and Gandalf, or Luke Skywalker and Master Yoda. In most of the epic stories, the heroes meet a mentor who give him training, advice, and confidence. This is the first stage of what is called the hero's journey. But the key word here is that the mentor offers help and guidance, but the hero is the one who should complete the journey. So in all these stories, the character, they have a strong sense of purpose before they meet their mentors. This is why when you are a mentee, you should know the reason you join a club or any organization. This may sound like a sermon you have heard 1,000 of times, but for me, this was what made me stay in my club. When I found that I didn't have a mentor, I felt like a stranger in a city where he doesn't know where to go. Just like Pritam when he was finding himself in Paris. So I know that I joined the club for my personal and professional development. And this is my compass during my Toastmaster journey. The clearer your goals are, the easier it is for the mentor to guide you. Second, as a mentee, you should be curious and proactive. When I was doing my first internship, my mentor went on vacation and I found myself alone. One day I was complaining about that with my dad and he told me, don't wait the ripe fruits to fall from the trees, which means that I needed to go to get what I wanted to learn from others. Some years ago, I had a mentee in my club, Aura, and her name is Fatu, who is really a go-getter. Every day, she would ask me questions. She would come up with new ideas. She would email me or text me. But this experience was rewarding for both of us as we learned more about the Toastmaster educational program, especially me. Because when you have a mentee like Fatu, believe me, you better do your homework. Third, as a mentee, you should be curious and also listen and observe everything going on in a club. I learn a lot from my mentor, Lamin, but also from other members, because every time people are delivering a speech or playing a role, I would observe them to see what I can learn from them. And from my mentor, Lamin, I learned that gestures can sometimes distract an audience. Lamin had a hand gesture, this one, every time he is speaking. And this earned him the nickname, the Axe. But because of these gestures, even when he was talking about something serious, we would laugh. Serving others, service to all members is one of the core values to Toastmasters, and it is expressed in mentorship. And from my experience, I learned that as a mentee, you should help your mentor to guide you by having clear goals. You should also be curious and proactive, and also be a good observer. As Jim Rohn said, you should be like a sponge when it comes to each new experience. I'm Toastmaster.
That was a wonderful speech, Hassan. Thanks for reminding that mentees have an important role in the relationship between mentor and mentee as well. We now shall provide feedback to Hassan on private chat, or what we call love notes here at Toastmasters. Madam Timer, can we have a minute for others to provide love notes to Hassan? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Timer. Our next speaker of the day is Destin. Evaluating Destin is Roberta. Roberta, could you tell us something about Destin's speech today?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, Destin is working from his innovative planning pathway on his level 1 project research and presenting. So tonight he'll be sharing about a topic that he's researched. He'll be sharing that, presenting it to us, and he's asked me to look for vocal variety and also his citations as he shares his findings with us. Best of luck, Destin.
I asked Destin the same question. What was his best or worst snapshot in his life and how it has impacted him? His answer was that his sister makes a birthday cake for him every year, except his 20th birthday, because his sister was pregnant and her water broke on the exact day. And even though she couldn't make a cake for him, he got another best present instead of him. He got his nephew on his birthday, and now they have the privilege of celebrating their birthdays on the same day. The title of the speech of Destin is An Unconventional Definition of Success. An Unconventional Definition of Success, Destin.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Who wants to be successful? Everybody, right? But what is success? How do you define it? How do you measure it? The Oxford Dictionary gives us 3 definitions of success. The first one, success is the accomplishment of a purpose or an aim. The second definition, success is the attainment of popularity or profit. And the third definition, success is a person who has achieved success. For example, Bhakti is a success. Hassan is a success. There are plenty of success stories out there, and I know each of us knows at least one of them. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Tonight, I would like to share with you a definition of success that I've learned from a man I met last year. This man died many years ago in 1943, and his name was George Washington. George Washington Carver. But before I jump right in the lesson I learned from him, I'd like to talk a little bit more about who was the man and what did he accomplish. So, who was George Washington Carver? According to History.com, George Washington Carver was an African-American scientist, botanist, innovator, and educator who was born on a farm in 1864. He lost his parents at a very young age, and Moses Carver, the man to whom his parents belonged, raised him as his own child. Because he couldn't go to school, he was Black, and he had some health issues too. He couldn't work on the fields with Moses Carver. Susan Carver, the wife of Moses, took him and taught him how to read, how to write, and how to do some household chores. She also taught him how to concoct some herbal medicines. According to the same journal, it is around that age that Carver developed a passion for plants. He was so skillful that even the neighbors would ask him for advice when they had some troubles with their plants in their garden. Carver would go and take the plants from the neighbor's garden, bring it to his farm, work on the plant, and then bring it back to the neighbor. At the age of 11, George Carver had to walk 10 miles away from the farm to reach the nearest school that would accept him as a student. It was in the town of Neosho. But he wasn't satisfied about the education he received there. So he moved to Kansas, where he graduated from Minneapolis High School. He also went to the Iowa State Agricultural College when he got his first Bachelor of Science degree. What was his work? George Washington Carver is the author of many inventions, amongst which over 300 food, industrial, and commercial products from peanuts. He was known as the Peanut Man. These products included milk, punches, oil, cooking oil and salad oil, paper, cosmetics, soaps, and wood stains. He also popularized the methods of crop rotation. Back in the time, the South was known to grow. Back in the time, the main crop was cotton, and growing cotton year after year would weaken the soil from its nutrients. And by bringing the methods of crop rotations, Carver helped the farmers to keep their soil enriched in nutrients. We can clearly see that George Carver was a success. He achieved many goals. He invented a lot of things. His expertise crossed the borders of the United States. In 1916, he was made a member of the British Royal Society of Arts, which is very rare for an American. He also advised the Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi on agriculture and nutrition. Even the President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, asked him for advice on agricultural matters in the United States. So definitely, George Carver was a success. He achieved goals, he was popular, but what about money? What about profits? In the article 7 Facts on George Washington Carver, that first appeared in March 2015 and was updated on January of this year, 2020, Sarah Kettler relates a time when George Carver turned down a six-figure job from Sir Thomas Edison. Definitely, he didn't care about money. He didn't. For Carver, it is not the style of the clothes one wears, neither the kind of automobiles one drives, nor the amount of money one has in the bank that counts. For Carver, it is services that measure success. From all the products that he developed, he just filed 3 patents for them because he didn't want to take credit of them. He was a faithful believer. And one amazing thing about that man was he gave credit to God from all his research, from all his findings. So clearly, from his young age to his very last breath, George Washington Carver served people, and that's how he perceived success. Madam Toastmaster.
That was a wonderful speech, Destin. Everyone can send love notes to Destin via private chat. Madam Timer, can we have a minute? Thank you, Madam Timer. Our last speaker of the day is Grant, and evaluating Grant is Matt. Matt, could you tell us something about Grant's speech today?
I'm honored to evaluate Grant's speech. This is Grant's last speech with us. It is something of a farewell speech, and it is not a particular project in the manual, but Grant wants to communicate what it's meant to him. And he also wanted me to look for some storytelling and his ability to inspire. So with that, let's welcome Grant.
Grant has been one of the best speakers in our club. I asked Grant the same question. What was the best or worst snapshot of his life and how that has impacted him? His answer was the worst snapshot of his life was middle school, where he struggled to fit in and became pretty self-destructive. And because of that, this impacted significantly his middle school and high school lives. But he got past it step by step, one day at a time. And so his title today is rightfully titled Step by Step. Step by Step, Grant.
Thank you, Bhakti, for that segue. When I was in middle school, if you would have asked me where I saw myself in 10 years, I would have said dead by my own hands. I didn't see myself graduating high school, but 5 years ago, I did graduate high school. And 5 months ago, I graduated college. And what a journey it has been. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Over the past decade, I've lived by the mantra step by step, which you might also know as brick by brick, according to last meeting's theme. One foot in front of the other, day by day, month by month, year by year. Soon, you'll be able to look behind you and see all that you've accomplished, how far you've come. My first step in my adult life was attending RIT in 2015 with a major in software engineering. The first year was, no doubt, difficult as I adjusted to my new life in college. But I took it day by day, and eventually college life did get easier. In the last half of my second year, I took the next major step of my life. I went on co-op as a software engineering intern at Diebold Nixdorf, which is an ATM company based in Ohio. It was here that I learned that I really didn't want to work at an ATM company for the rest of my life. I found the work to be fairly boring and monotonous, but I kept repeating my mantra, step by step. Every less than stellar work experience gets me one step closer to the job that I actually want. After my co-op in Ohio, rather than immediately returning to college, I decided to take a huge step and live in India for 3.5 months by myself. In India, I ate on the floor in a Sikh temple, taught kids in the slums basic math and English, and soared with the birds as I flew in a paraglider. It was also where I exercised the literal meaning of the phrase step by step, as I found myself a little bit too cheap to pay for an auto rickshaw ride and opted to walk myself, even in the sketchiest areas of India. It was during one of these walks through a village that I met a mother with her 3 children. And they were living in one small concrete room, definitely smaller than the room I'm in now. The room contained a single wooden bed and no other furniture. After inviting me in, she offered to cook me a traditional Indian meal, a chapati, rice, and some curry. We talked for a bit despite her broken English, and I learned about how she was struggling to feed her children and educate them. She knew that a good education was the stepping stone for her children to have a brighter and better future. She worked every day, including weekends, for 12 hours a day, selling jewelry to provide for her children. Yet, she was cooking a meal for me. I was pretty taken aback by that, by her generosity. And I kind of felt pretty guilty about the fact that she wouldn't accept payment in return for her hospitality. I didn't realize it at the time, but this was a pivotal moment in my life. It was where I came to the realization that I wouldn't be happy in a job unless it allowed me to use my software engineering know-how to help those that need it. After India, I returned to RIT with a rejuvenated spirit. School was still tough, no doubt, but I got through it day by day, step by step. I had a new destination in mind, even if I had no idea how to reach it. At the end of my 4th year at RIT, my next big step was as a co-op student at Oracle. It was slightly better than my experience at Diebold Nixdorf, the ATM company, but I knew it wasn't what I was truly interested in. However, I learned some of the skills that would help me achieve my ultimate goal of entering a career that will allow me to help others. So my experience there wasn't wasted. Then after Oracle, I went back to RIT for my 5th and final year. Soon enough, despite a global pandemic, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in software engineering. Now I'm able to look back at all the frustrations of school, the late night studying, the boring co-ops, and see that it was all worth it. They were all stepping stones to something better. This will be my last Toastmasters meeting for a while because I'll be starting a new job for the Department of Defense soon. This job probably won't be the end all to my journey, but I know it'll be a great step forward that'll teach me some of the skills I need in order to get to where I ultimately want to be. The job will be my next step forward while I'm figuring out exactly how I want to help people with my software engineering skills. In middle school, I felt hopeless and futureless. Now that I've graduated college, I can see that sometimes your destination is just unknown. But once you get there, you'll be able to look back and see how far you've come. And only then will you be able to see that it was all worth it. You just need to take it step by step. Madam Toastmaster.
That was such a relatable speech, Grant. I loved it. People, you can drop love notes to Grant. And Madam Timer, can we have a minute for that? Thank you, Madam Timer. Before we move forward, I would like to remind everyone that according to Toastmaster policy, you need to keep your video on so that everyone can see you. I can see that the silent spectator has finally shown himself. And Unless it's an emergency, please stay on the video. Next part of the meeting is table topics. This is the most fun part of the meeting because everybody is allowed to participate and nothing has been prepared for this part of the meeting. And taking us through this part of the meeting is Brendan. I asked Brendan the same question. What has been the best or worst snapshot of his life and how it has impacted him? His answer was that when he was in high school, his family moved to a small town, many states away from where he used to live. And adjusting to a new life, there was a mix of best and worst snapshot of his life. Obviously, it wasn't an easy adjustment, but the warm welcome of the new place, a new school, and new people taught him that listening to people, how to listen to people more attentively. So, Brendan, I pass on the mic to you.
Thank you, Bhakti. Thumbs up. Can everyone hear me? Sound good? Fantastic. Sorry, personal chat distracting. Thank you, Gaurav. For our table topics portion, this is to help practice our impromptu speaking. One of the things I like to say is working with clients in my job day to day, there's some people that are so fast with their talking and their questions that if you hesitate at all or have a break in your conversation, they'll steamroll right over you. So being confident in your responses, whether it's professional, personal, helps simply just build your confidence, whether it's an interview, a one-on-one conversation. It's an amazing trait, and I think for even the most experienced Toastmaster and speaker, it is still terrifying to have to answer a question in front of a group. To help us through this time, we have our timer, Deb. Deb, can you remind us of the timer requirements for this portion?
Why, yes, I can. So for table topics, once you're brave and raise your hand and you start speaking, you will have 1 to 2 minutes. And at 1 minute, you'll get the green. So I'll awkwardly put it up front here to try to get you to notice it. At 1.5 minutes, you'll get the yellow. And then at 2 minutes, you'll get the red. And you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up.
Wonderful, thank you, Deb. And another portion of our impromptu speaking, just to make it that much more difficult, using the word of the day. So let's introduce our grammarian, Alex, to remind us the word of the day. Alex?
In the interest of brevity, I'll just use it in a sentence, like I just did. Brevity.
And to be clear, make sure that you stay within the proper time frame and use the word of the day so that you may receive the imaginary virtual prize. It's a great honor. Can I have my first volunteer? Oh, Preetam, fantastic. All right. Captain Freedom. In light of the word of our day, brevity, here is your question. I'll read it twice. If life is so short, why do we do so many things we don't like and like so many things we don't do? Once more, if life is so short, why do we do so many things we don't like and like so many things we don't do?
Brendan, you were right when you said that even for Toastmasters who have been in the club for a long time, it's still very uncomfortable to come up and do an impromptu speech. That is what I'm feeling. I do not like to do this, but I had to do this. Why did I have to do this? Because I had to wait too long. I didn't know why I had to wait too long because Gaurav is here. I thought my wait to raise my hand would be filled with brevity, but Gaurav did not raise his hand. So I had to. And now I'm answering this question. Why do we do things in life that we do not like to do? In fact, life is so short. Why do them? This is the perfect example of why we do them, because people give us opportunities to do them. That is the best thing about this life, that we get opportunities to do things that are given to us by other people. People who find us and bring us on a journey like Toastmasters has done today, bringing us all together and giving us this opportunity to be uncomfortable, do a speak and share what's in your mind. Not many people are comfortable with sharing what's on their mind. They fear judgment. They fear being vulnerable. But being able to fear and still do that, still share that in front of people in brevity, like a table topic speech, is a wonderful gift to have. Back to you, Topics Master, Brendan.
Wonderful. Thank you, Preetam. Who is our next nervous contestant? Oh, Gaurav. I didn't know you were going to be in this meeting, but now that I do, I have the question that I think you'll hate the most.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Nobody, and maybe some people, but most people don't like pictures of themselves. So for the theme of the day, snapshot, what is the favorite snapshot or picture of yourself and why? What is your favorite picture of yourself and why?
Thank you, Brendan, Frankie. The favorite picture of myself. I'll try to use brevity and keep it short, which is easy because as you can see, my earphones are coming apart. So if I talk too much, it shocks me. Keeps me awake though. My favorite picture, not my favorite picture, but it's like the snapshot, which if I had to condense my whole life into like one snapshot, it'll be a picture taken during a school play done during my final year at my school back home in India. And our school was very poor, like dirt poor. It's like a government school. So we didn't have bathrooms. We just had the ruins of a bathroom. That's how poor we were as a school. So the stage play was literally kept outside in the ground, and it was about the god of death, played by me, very aptly. And I had a sidekick, and the play was really well written. It was supposed to be funny. I might have ruined that. But anyway, so the picture was taken during that play. And please don't go to the Facebook and find it out. But that picture has me decked with like full death god costume with like, I think mustaches and big horns and dress. I look fabulous, but it also describes me finding myself in random moments and regretting them. So yeah, if there was to be a picture, a snapshot of me, I hope that was the question, then that would be the picture to describe me. An untimely photo taken in a moment of regret. Mr. Tabletop.
Wonderful. Forgot to share this before, but that is my favorite photo of myself. Sitting on top of Charlie's Bunyan, an awful name, a mountain between North Carolina and Tennessee. It's a long hike, but definitely worth it when you get up there. May I have a third and possibly final volunteer? Oh, Ming Shuo. All right. I swore I thought of this question before Dustin's speech, but similar to his introduction, a snapshot of your life success for you in the future. what does your future success look like? And it doesn't have to be just money. So think of Destin's speech, but what does your future success look like? Thanks, well.
Yeah, I understand your question. In my future, actually, I don't want to be a very rich man because I haven't been experienced what is rich will be. So maybe I cannot afford this rich, and I think now I'm quite in happiness. So I'm quite satisfied now because I have a girlfriend and we live together. It's very sweet. We take care of each other and have a wonderful family who always give me support. And I meet all my friends and I join my dream school, RIT. In the future, I think I'm just doing what I need to do. I don't want to be very rich. I just want to pursuing my dream, keep going on art and design, and try to build some value for our society. Try to develop myself to the society, to the community, and also give a lot of speeches. So try to make me a more advanced man. And also I want in the future our countries can have a good friendship so that we have we have closer relationship. I think so. It's such a mess. Sorry.
Ming Shuo, you're absolutely right. It's a mess. But more comments like that and relationships with all of us in this call, that much closer to making it less of a mess. All right, we don't need a full report from Alex and Deb, but Deb, did everybody meet the time requirements?
They did.
And Alex, did everybody use the word of the day?
I believe everyone but Ming Shuo did.
Okay.
So Freedom and Gorov both did.
All right, do we have the magic poll system set up?
Just a minute, I'm setting it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That comes out, vote for your favorite, and that will be announced near the end of the meeting. I'll pass control back to our Toastmaster, Bhakti.
Guys should be able to see the poll shortly. I call Chitra to be the Zoom master because she has been the one who has been hosting these meetings, conducting polls, and doing all the techie stuff that is required for this meeting to be going on online. And she is the general evaluator for the day. I asked her the same question, and her reply was, a few years back, she was working more than 75 hours in a week because she was studying for GMAT, she was taking weekend classes, she was helping her sister prepare for her exam, and she was helping her family financially as well. It was really stressful and exhausting, and she didn't think she would be able to fulfill her goals. But anyway, she is here at RIT, pursuing the degree of her dreams. And therefore, the lesson that she has learned, that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Providing the general evaluation is Chitra. I will forward the mic to Chitra.
Thank you, Bhakti. So welcome to this place of evaluations where people who get evaluated and we can all learn from everybody. So the evaluation section is of 3 parts. One, the evaluators, where they talk about the speakers and what they did good, what you can learn from them and stuff. And the next part is of the functionary report, where all the 3 functionary, the timer, the counter, and the grammarian give their reports for the day. And the third part is my report. So let's get on to the first part, where we get to know about the feedback from the evaluators about the speakers. The first speaker was Hassan. Evaluating Hassan is Preetham. Let's welcome Preetham to learn more about Hassan's speech.
Hassan, one of the first things I noticed in your speech, your audio was so clear. That is the first thing that we notice in online meetings, and I could clearly hear every word you were speaking. So whatever you did with the audio setup, excellent. Keep doing that. You also started the speech saying that I remember the first time I joined Toastmasters. That was the beginning of a story. And just using those words, it's like using the words once upon a time. When you read those first 3 words, once upon a time, you see children coming up, eager to listen to what you're saying. And I remember did the same thing for us. So wonderfully bringing us into the story. You also used some humor. You were not serious. You said your mentor, you told him, you made me join Toastmasters and you will be my mentor. So things like that, it made us laugh. And you told us why you joined Toastmasters. That was the most important thing. You made it clear that you saw a lot of value in the discipline and punctuality and honesty that the people had in Toastmasters. I think the only thing I struck my microphone while speaking. All right. I never had to think about my microphone when we had physical meetings. Now I have to. All right. So the only thing I would ask you to change is you said you were recruited for Toastmasters. For an organization for like Toastmasters, I don't think recruitment is the right word. Inducted is probably a better word. So you had very clear points and a story to go along with the points. To challenge yourself, I would ask you to get into the character. Like when somebody told you, you better do your homework. Act it out how that character really said. What were their facial expressions? So someone who your mentor told you, you better do your homework. They probably told you like, Hassan, you better do your homework. So those facial expressions matter more in online meetings to keep people engaged. So Hassan, to sum it up, I really like the audio quality you had and the humor and the kind of story you shared with a proper structure. When you say you became a part of Toastmasters, probably use the word inducted than recruited because it sounds more like a job when you use the word recruitment. And use characters, try to act out the character. Other than that, Hassan, you also focused on why you joined Toastmasters, and I love that message for the honesty and discipline that Toastmasters have. Back to you, Chitra.
Thanks for the feedback, Preetham. Yes, we know that Hassan had done a good job of having tech support from both sides in another phone and a laptop. I don't know how he worked through that. On the next speaker was Destin. Evaluating Destin is Roberta.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Dustin, your objective tonight was to research a topic and share it with us, and you very clearly met that objective. From the beginning of your speech, you provided a lot of evidence that you not only did thorough research, but you did quite broad research as well on your person of interest, George Washington Carver. You did a lot of things really great in this speech. I loved your opening. You started with a rhetorical question and then some other questions to consider, and you ended up answering those later in your speech in terms of what defines success and how do we think about it. You used the rule of 3 really well at many points during your speech. I noted 3 of them in your opening with your definition from the Oxford Dictionary, when you told us about Carver learning to read, write, and do household chores. And then at the end as well, in your closing, when you talked about how he didn't define success and then how he did. So again, wonderful use of rule of 3 throughout your entire speech. A couple of things you may want to consider in your next speech. While you did a great job using your space and standing up so that we could see you, there were a few times it looked like you lost eye contact as you were trying to remember the next part of your speech. Something we all do from time to time. Another thing to maybe challenge yourself is, it was clear that you found interest in this because you went far and deep with the topic, but why? What got you started in the first place? I would have loved to have heard what sparked your interest initially in going and researching more about George Washington Carver. Just to wrap up, you specifically asked me to look at a few things like vocal variety and citations in your text. A few times you specifically called out the articles you used and the references, so that was really great. In terms of vocal variety, your pace and your tone were great. You were very articulate and easy to understand, but there was probably room to practice highs and lows, or maybe dialogue, something else to kind of mix up variety. But again, you did a great job with your opener, rule of 3, pace, tone, very well researched topic. So well done tonight, Dustin. Madam General Evaluator, back to you.
Thank you, Rapota, for the feedback where we can also learn from it. Our next speaker was Grant. Evaluating Grant is Matt. Let's hear from Matt what he has to say about Grant's speech.
Grant, thank you so much for delivering this vulnerable speech, and that you chose your last thing to be something that was so vulnerable and so much about your life. It's again, thank you for giving us this. This was a gift to us, and I'm very grateful to you for it. I think you did so many things very well. You asked me to look at storytelling, and you did an excellent job storytelling. The pinnacle of your storytelling obviously came in this very graphic description of the house that you came upon in India with this mother, and you described it so well with one bed and the meal that she made for you of chapati and curry and a third thing. It was beautiful. I was there with you. Your storytelling was excellent in its use of detail. That was really great. Another strength was your introduction and conclusion. You had very well-defined introduction and conclusion. They worked extremely well because of the vulnerability. You started right out with something that I'm sure captured everybody 110% by telling us about middle school and how torturous it was for you, to the extent that you thought that you wouldn't make it through your teenage years, that you would end your life. And that is not anything that anyone's going to miss. You held us in your palms of your hands at that point, and you took us the rest of the way. And in your conclusion, you came back to a lesson that wasn't at all cliche, because you lived it and you told us the story. And so we were with you, and it was very inspiring. You wanted me to look at inspiration. And so I feel like you absolutely inspired us by your strong theme, which was absolutely backed up by your own story. And that was beautiful. The words and phrases you used were excellent. You said step by step, day by day, year by year. You said rejuvenated, a new destination. I thought your language was extremely strong. A couple of things you can improve upon are that to get more familiar with your material so that you're not reading it. That would be good. That would also allow you to get up and move around. This is a challenge for Zoom speeches of using your stage. And so you could do that a little bit better. But overall, Grant, you had an amazing introduction and conclusion. The strength of your speech was in its vulnerability and stories. And just work on a little more preparation to use your stage. Overall, thank you for this wonderful closing to your time with us now at Tigertales. That really met its mark. Thank you. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Matt, for giving a wonderful evaluation on Grant's speech. The next part of our meeting is on the functionary reports for evaluation. Let's hear from the timer, Deb, on the timing reports for the day.
Hello, everyone. Overall, everyone did a phenomenal job of staying in time. No one was out of time, although some people started to flirt with that line. For speakers, Hassan was 7 minutes, 18 seconds, so starting to flirt with that line. Destin was 7:07, not as bad, but you're starting to get there. Grant was 6.5 minutes. Evaluators were all within the 2 to 3 minute mark. However, Pritam, he started to flirt with that line. You're at 3 minutes, 11 seconds. And Matt, you were at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. And Roberta did excellent. 2 minutes, 33 seconds. And I'll post these in the chat as well.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Let's hear from the accountant Ming Shu about accounting report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Today, everyone did a good job. And for speakers, Hassan used one, Destin used no filler words, but repeat some words like he, the, and Grant is perfect. For table topic, Peter is perfect. Grover used 2 filler words. Me, I always use filler words like 4 and 5. And for evaluators, Peter is perfect. Roberta used 2 filler words. Matt is perfect. And our general evaluator, Chitra, used 3 filler words. Back to use 2 filler words. That's all. Back to you.
Thank you, Ming Shu. I know I use a lot of filler words. I'm working on it. Yeah, it's a slow journey. Let's hear from Alex, a grammarian, on his report.
Xavier's getting a little trigger happy with the clapping there. Hi, everyone. I'm your grammarian tonight. And I'll be pointing out rhetoric that helped make our message more powerful. And each of our speakers had excellent examples of this. I'll start with Hassan. He had a great example of an allusion to the hero's journey. And I wanted to highlight a repeated structure that he used and consider a way that you could write it differently and how his structure makes it more powerful. So the way that he said it was, the clearer your goals are, the easier it will be for your mentor to help you. The clearer, the easier. Now, he could have just said, if you have clear goals, your mentor can help you more easily. Would have been just the same exact meaning, but by saying it, the clearer, the easier, it's more memorable. It sticks more in your mind. And that's one of the ways that rhetoric can help, just by repeating that structure of the clearer and the easier, the adjective. It's really simple structure, but by repeating it, it adds power to the meaning of that sentence. One small pronunciation piece there, you said honesty a few times, and I know English is confusing with our H's, hospital and hotel, as opposed to French, hospital and hotel, but with honesty, we use the French because our our language is made up of several different languages stacked up in a trench coat. Destin, you had lots of rules of three. One, all throughout your speech, you had a bit of alliteration, a passion for plants, a small pronunciation piece. You said expertise, and it's expertise when you were talking about George Washington Carver's expertise being known throughout the world. One excellent bit of repeated structure, not the style of the clothes one wears, not the car that one drives, neither the bank, the money in one's bank. That structure was really wonderful. And this is one place where I want you to consider something that you did really well in the beginning. What success is, how do you define it, and how do you measure it? Your vocal variety really hit home on measure, and I wanted you to consider a change to the speech that would help to make that more powerful. Because right before that wonderful bit of rhetoric about not the style or the car or the money, how does he measure success? And in your conclusion, you asked, you said this was how he perceived success. And if you put a measure in there, that's a way that you can get a repeated theme all the way through your speech. How is success measured? So that was an excellent bit of rhetoric. That was maybe a way to make it even better. Finally, Grant, you had this repeated theme throughout your speech, stepping stones and step by step. And those stepping stones each provide us with a stepping stone through the speech. It gives us almost a meter that we can follow as we go through the speech. One small pronunciation for you, it may not be right or wrong, but you said mantra several times, and the more common pronunciation I've heard is mantra. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the more common one. And another bit of feedback about one of the powerful moments of your speech is the conclusion to your story about being in India and how you felt guilty about her hospitality and how that convicted you. And you hedged your language there by saying you felt kind of pretty guilty. And that was one place where if you had just stuck with, I felt guilty, that would have made the message more powerful. I love being the grammarian. I probably went entirely too long, but
I'm not diving in.
I hope that helps.
Thank you, Alex, for your grammarian reports. And here we are to listen to me, what my reports are for the day. I really appreciate Bhakti, who ran after her session and had to reach on time and start the meeting on time, as she's the Toastmaster of the day. It must have been a stressful journey back home. Good job, Bhakti, on starting it on time. And I really took Hassan's quote when he said, "Don't wait for the ripened fruits to fall on the ground." I really took it home, and that's how I think even the Toastmasters over here today took table topics, and then they wanted to play their game over there, and also use this opportunity to utilize your public speaking skills by ensuring Xavier can fulfill your speaking goals. He can help you through your journey of that. He's always open up for speaking roles and evaluation roles. Please talk to him about that. And I also wanted to mention how there's this due date for payment of our dues. Please make sure you pay today so we can get through our TCP goals for the day. I think Hassan will speak on that. Other than that, I would like to give it back to Bhakti. Thank you.
And now, for the moment you all been waiting for. Please give me some drum roll. Winner of table topics is the guy that rocks, Gaurav.
Thank you.
With that, I conclude the meeting and I pass over the mic to Hassan, our president.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhakti, for this awesome job. It's really good to have you more often at our meetings. I would like to congratulate all the speakers and the evaluators and thank everybody who made it today. The Young, you are late, but I don't know if you would like to have 1 minute to talk about your talk to the members of the club.
Hello, everyone. Yes.
You're live. You're live.
Hi. I'm just so excited to everybody. Yeah, and I'm so sorry I messed up the time. I was yeah, but still I'm so excited to join the meeting and see everybody. I mean, even from remotely and see your face, it's just so great. And yeah, it's well, I'm in China now, and I've been in China for about probably 10 months maybe. So I started traveling back to China from last year December, and due to the COVID-19, I have been stuck in China and I haven't had a chance to go back to US and go back to Chicago where I work. So but on Facebook, Pratham caught me and and he suggested me to come join a meeting, and I think, well, that's a great idea. And yeah, and here I am, and it's just so wonderful to see everyone's face and talk. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. I hope you
go ahead, please.
I just wanted to thank you and tell you we're really glad to have you at this meeting. I hope you will join us more often.
Thank you,
Gaurav, it's also
Hanasa.
good to see you at the meeting, and congratulations for the best level topics. And before I adjourn the meeting, I would like to remind again that today is the last day to renew the membership to Toastmasters International. I would like to thank those who paid their dues and ask those who didn't do that yet to pay their dues. We really need to have at least 20 people in our club. My voice is bad. Okay. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Hassan.
Okay, so I was saying I would like to thank those who paid their dues, and those who haven't yet paid, today is the last day to do that. We would like really to have at least 20 people who renewed their membership to Toastmasters International. So this is my last word. I would like to thank you again and see you next week. I adjourn this meeting.
Woo.